Thank you for joining us for our Messiah Minutes this week. Quick announcements. We have single ladies Bible studies on Mondays at 6. Tonight we have our men's Bible study at 6. Women's Bible study meets every other week, which means they meet tonight at 6. And then Life Recovery meets tonight at 6:30 in the gym. Tomorrow there are no activities at the church, so please enjoy some time with your families for Thanksgiving. And we will return next Wednesday for youth and our adult midweek service. Thursday and Friday, the church and the daycare will be closed. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. We ask that you join us Sunday morning. It's our first day of Advent. Quick reminder in the hope that we have during this time of year, during this season. And it's followed by our regular scheduled programming with Pastor Claude, so please join us Sunday morning. I'm also asking for help for NTP on Sunday mornings. We need some help with the little ones. We have some more babies here, which is a great problem to have. But more babies means that we need more hands in that program. So if that's on your heart, please come see me or message me or get a hold of me in any way you can. Other announcements, we have our Christmas outreach. Stockings of Love has begun. There's a table in the narthex with cards on it that has info from local kids that are available to sponsor for Christmas. So please sign out a card, purchase a few items from their list, and then bring the gifts back and the card back to the church by December 14th. On December 7th, we have that flute guy. David Kay is going to be joining us for Sunday service, and we'll be taking a love offering for him that day as well. And then our Christ birthday offering will be collected on December 21st, and then our Christmas Eve service will be on the 24th at 6 p.m. here at the church. So please, lots of chances that we have coming up in our schedule to get together, to fellowship, and just be the body of Christ. So we ask that you jump in somewhere, and we hope to see you. Let's get back into what we've been talking about. We have been focusing on 2 Corinthians 10, 3-5. For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Last week we talked about shifting our perspective so we can live within our divine purpose. If we truly believe in God and we believe that He is all-knowing, all-powerful, and that He is in control of everything, then we have a choice to make. We can choose a faith-filled, life-giving, love-bringing perspective. Our perspective is not as much controlled by our choices we make as it is controlled by the thoughts that we think. So then we talked about the Israelites. We talked about their journey to freedom. We left off with them at the gates of the Promised Land. And I gave you all some homework. I asked you to read. I hope you continued that story. I asked you to read in Numbers 13 so you can see just how important perspective is. So we're going to start there. Numbers 13, verses 1-2. The Lord said to Moses, "Send some men to explore the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites. From each ancestral tribe, send one of its leaders." I want you to remember something. This is the Promised Land. God tells Moses to send some people into the Promised Land. Not the "we'll see" land, or the "I'm considering this" land, or the "well, check it out, we'll discuss it later" land. It's the Promised Land. God tells Moses that it is the land that I'm giving to the Israelites. It's already been decided. So send some men to explore the land that I'm giving to you. I want you to understand that God did not send the men in to find out if it was possible to give them the land. He didn't send them in because He was still kind of deciding if they really wanted the land, and He was going to talk it over, discuss it. He didn't ask them to go and do an analysis of the land, maybe take some risk assessments, figure out what the true value of the land is first, and then we'll see if that's the Promised Land. No, He didn't do that. They were sent to investigate because they had asked to do that. God was responding to their own request, which you will find later if you read Deuteronomy 1:21-26. They had asked God to do that. So the 12 spies head off, and then they return 40 days later, and they give their report. And their report is what I want to focus on. It's a great example of perspective. Remember, it's not what we see, it's what we think we see. Our perspective is important because it shapes our reality. So in Numbers 13, 27-28, it says, "This was their report to Moses. We entered the land you sent us to explore. It is indeed a bountiful country, a land flowing with milk and honey. Here is the kind of fruit that it produces. but the people living there are powerful, and their towns are large and fortified. We even saw giants there, the descendants of Anak. Basically, they said, yeah, God was right. This land is awesome. And we did bring back the fruit like he asked. But that's a dangerous word when you're dealing with perspective. Because it says, yes, I know what God said, and I know what God promised. But the people are too powerful. The cities are too strong. There's giants there. They're way too big for us to defeat. I want you to understand that 10 spies give a negative report, but 2 spies, Caleb and Joshua, have different perspectives. They saw the same things, but they saw it vastly different. In Numbers 13:30, we hear this. But Caleb tried to quiet the people as they stood before Moses. Let's go at once to take the land. He said, we can certainly conquer it. 10 say we can't do it. It's way too much for us. But 2 come back saying, it's ours, let's go. They see the same things, but the reality is determined by their perspective. And what do we see? What happens after this in the story? We see the 10 of them get a little uneasy, that their negative view is probably not going to win out. So then we see this elaborate exaggeration starts to take place, as it often happens if people feel like they're not going to get their way. Numbers 13:31 through 33. But the other men who explored the land with him disagreed. We can't go up against these men. They're stronger than we are. So they spread this bad report about the land among the Israelites. The land we traveled through and explored will devour anyone who goes to live there. All the people we saw were huge. We even saw giants there, the descendants of Anak. Next to them, we felt like grasshoppers. And that's what they thought too. I want you to think about that. If you took the average height of a man and contrasted it with that of a grasshopper, that would mean that the giants of the land there about that time were about 4,000 feet tall. That's a pretty big exaggeration. When we fail to take our thoughts captive, they shape our perspectives in ways that exaggerate the struggles that we're facing, and they underestimate the power of God. I want you to continue to read this story. I want you to look at how the people of Israel respond to these accounts. I want you to understand the power of perspective and the negative outcomes it can have on your life, not just on yours, but on the lives of all the people around you. I guarantee if I was to ask any of you what you want for your family, for your spouses, for your children, for your friends, is that you would tell me that you want them to be joyful, to be positive, and to have a great perspective on life. I want you to keep reading this story. Starting at chapter 14 in Numbers, keep reading it. And pay attention to how your perspective might influence someone else's. And understand that there is power in positivity. I thank you all. I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. I hope that you get into the Word and see what you can get out of it this week. And remember to read, continue to stick into it, and let's gain some things about our perspective and how we can help others. I love you all. I thank you all. Hope to see you sometime this week. Happy Thanksgiving.